So Moro is supposed to integrate around 2 months. What are the most common reasons it doesn't? And at what age should parents really start to be concerned?
Sure. Um, so the most common risk factors have to do with birth complications, then pregnancy complications, then early infancy complications. And I'm sure we're going to talk about complications more in depth later, so I will try not to do the whole episode right now. But basically, like anything traumatic that happens during that early stage is a risk factor. Things like head injuries, forceps and vacuum delivery, cesarean delivery, being separated from mom, being born early, stress in pregnancy, toxin exposure, all of these different things that are happening before that reflex integrates. Anytime the brain and body just feel chronically unsafe or they've had enough negative experiences or an experience that was negative enough, like it could be one single traumatic experience if it was intense enough. One of the ways that the brain can react to that is by holding on to these earlier survival responses. It's basically like, okay, this world is not safe enough for us to let go of this. We need this like really sensitive, really strong stress response to protect us. So, keeping your Moro reflex is actually a very healthy and adaptive response to an unsafe, unhealthy environment. The problem is that the brain doesn't know the difference between actually being in a dangerous, stressful situation and just being born by cesarean or having a head injury due to something like forceps or vacuum delivery. Like those things shouldn't set us up chronically. That's not something that's a one-time thing that shouldn't prevent our brains from working right, but that doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, last time when we did an Instagram live on this topic, I mentioned that my husband absolutely 100% does not have an integrated Moro reflex. And in the telling of his life when he was a baby, he had an allergic reaction back in the 60s to a shot, and it made his skin very raw, so he wasn't able to be handled. So a lot of times the Moro reflex is integrated by the picking up and putting down, this repetitive things that happens when you change a diaper, you go to feed, but he wasn't being handled because he couldn't be
Mhm.
handled. And so so he it never integrated in the way that it ought to have.
Yeah. Yeah, our brain develops based on movement and on experience and use. So if we don't move, we aren't handled, like you said, we don't move a lot, we don't interact with the environment in appropriate ways. It stunts the way that our brain functions. And especially early on when you're looking at these early reflexes, it's huge.